just getting back to your experience back in the Soviet Union, and you were making good money, and your wife was studying at university, and you had a little baby, and so at what point did coming to the United States come into your head? I mean, it sounded like you've had a pretty good setup going in the Soviet Union.
It was a combination of the different things. First of all, since the day you was born in Soviet Union, you fed the communist propaganda, and starting from the preschool and the daycare center and everything else, and everything controlled by the communist government. And then you kind of start, and I always like the history and have analytic mind, and again, it was very hard to access to the something which was forbidden in Soviet Union. And then you're starting to realize something is not exactly right, something is not exactly perfectly working, and there is a limited personal freedom. You can, I used to say, the great thing about Soviet Union, you can curse and scream on your boss at work, and probably nothing gonna happen. And if you criticize somebody in a ruling party or a leader, you're gonna end up in a Siberia somewhere. When I was growing up, it was not as bad like whatever my parents and grandparents had to go through. So it was a feeling to have a much more of a personal freedom. Also, to have a much more opportunity. For example, in Soviet Union, you cannot really go, let's say, for a vacation abroad. Like maybe they're gonna let you go to Poland or Bulgaria or maybe socialist countries, and they will not let people go as a family. So the husband going, the wife has to, and the kids has to stay behind. They're afraid people gonna defect. And another thing, so it was kind of economical. You wanna live better. You have all these dreams which you see in the movies, and there was a wave of immigration in the mid and end of the 70s, and those people who come to the United States, they start sending letters to their family back. And in this letter, they will write something on, we bought ourselves a new car because our Toyota was kind of old, it was not that great. And so we give this car to our 16 years old daughter. In the Soviet Union, you have to stay 20 years to be able to buy the car for your own money. How it can be? Or we bought a house and we have a pool. We have two color TVs, and a lot of people, especially, grew up with the propaganda, and everything about West was horrible and bad, and people didn't believe it, and everybody was skeptical. We thought maybe when the guy writing a letter, there is a FBI or CIA officer behind him with a gun looking over his shoulder, see what he's writing, and people gonna send the picture, they're gonna say, it cannot be. And but at night we would listen Voice of America on a radio station, but you need to have the radio with a very fine tuning. It has to be, preferably like a Japanese, which was very hard to buy because there was a jamming devices around the cities. There was like we have a cell tower now. Would be at least 4 or 5 jamming devices in our city. They would jam it. So to be able actually listen to the radio, to Voice of America or Free Europe or from the Israel, you have to be fine tuning it because you have to tune between whatever they're trying to jam it to be able to hear it. So you kind of trying to listening. They don't believe everything what you hear, and I always I read thousands of books and Mark Twain and Fenimore Cooper and Mine Reid. I always kind of had this dream about United States of America and about travel the world. And that's the one reason. Another reason, because there was a lot of, even was doing good, there was a lot of discrimination against certain groups of people. For example, ethnically, we're Jews, we're Jewish people. And there was a lot of discrimination and racism. It was on a people's level, but it also was on a government level. Like for example, my wife, she when she was in school, she was involved with local police. She wanted to become a lawyer or work for for a law enforcement. And she finished her school. We in Russia we call it like red diploma, like a gold medal, like a straight A student. And she was involved with the police department, like doing volunteer job for them. And one guy brought her, to the law university, to apply, and they open diploma. Oh, great! You have a red diploma, all this recommendation and everything. And then he opened her passport. And in a passport, Soviet Union, you have your nationality or ethnicity written down: Ukrainian, Russian, Gypsy, Jew, Armenian. And he opened up, he closed it, put everything, slide it back, and he told us another officer, he was like a detective. He said, usually I wouldn't even bother, but because you I know you, you're my buddy, I would recommend you not to even try to not to apply. She will not pass. I mean, there was a lot of things like that happen. Again, I was not a religious person, but my wife is now, she became a religious in the United States, but religious was pretty much almost against the law. They were a little bit allowed, like a Russian Orthodox Church, and now part of the, but another would be severely persecuted. And you wanna be a free person. You don't wanna be this minority. You don't wanna experience all the time. You wanna live in a country where most of the people not gonna care what is your background, and that's the way my parents was raising me, and that's how I raised my daughter. So do not just judge the people who they are, but not what their background and ethnicity. And unfortunately, there was a lot of that. And when I was growing up in a school, when I was tough little guy, but I was always small and skinny. I was in sports all my life, and I was fighting like crazy if somebody would try to do all this anti-Semitic or racial comments. And as my wife said, I have a macho man syndrome. So I'm more of afraid they will think, the bullies in school. I'm afraid of them to actually get in fight, which I didn't like to get in fight, but. And it was I grew up in a rough neighborhood, not like south side of Chicago, of course, or something like that. But a lot of kids was growing up without the father or mother. A lot of parents was alcoholic or in jail, and I was born in '60, and a lot of those people they went through the World War II. We have so many veterans living in our neighborhood. But I was saying, whatever, like saying in the United States, whatever is not break you, gonna make you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this, whatever I had some rough experience, and in the Soviet army in Mongolia, it was very tough, and I think it's built my character.
It certainly has made you who you are today, right?
Yeah, but sometimes I wish it would not happen. It would be easier, but. Because it's affecting you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something which we cannot take away, and I think it's for a better.
Sure.